Welcome back to Talking College Baseball. I am joined today with our guest co-host, Nick Sparber. Joe is not able to make it tonight, so Nick Sparber is filling in for him. But I would like to introduce you to our actual guest, former Miami Hurricane, former Virginia Tech Hokie, Anthony Arguelles. Thanks for coming on the show today, Anthony.
Let's go, boys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Anthony, I don't know if you watch any of our older podcasts, but it always starts from the beginning. We like to start from the beginning and then work through it. So
Okay.
What started, your drive and passion for baseball, like at an early age? Like, were you introduced by somebody? Were you inspired by somebody? Tell us a little bit about that.
My dad, he didn't really, when we were kids, let me start. My dad, he played professional baseball. He was a catcher. He got all the way up to the AA level before like hanging it up, and he became a scout for like 10 or something years like that. And then on his way out of baseball, he worked a little bit as a scout for like Scott Boras, the agency.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of did it all. He even coached a little bit in the minors, but he was a big sports guy, and I don't think he didn't care what we played. He liked us to be active and whatnot. And then I had an older brother, Andy, and I think he probably started with the baseball. And when I was like 3 years old, man, I just would go everywhere with him. I'd do everything together. So I just picked up baseball like he did, and we would play each other in the backyard all the time, like wiffle ball. Getting my butt whooped at that young age probably helped a little bit. Can't lie. So
He probably still beats you in wiffle ball today. I've seen your brother. I met your brother. He's probably whooping you in wiffle ball still.
This one memory. I used to get these. I don't know if you guys ever had the little squishy baseballs, right? That they would hand out big league games or stuff like that, college games. And I would love them because we would have these like little mini wooden bats, or we would have the wiffle ball bat, and the ball would go way further. And I remember I got it brand new, and I was so excited. First pitch I threw to him. He sent it. I don't even think it stayed in our neighbor's yard. He might have hit it over he might have hit it over the neighbor's fence, like to the second house. And I was just like, I just lost my new.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's funny because me and Nick and Joe used to do the same thing with the mini wooden bats that you get at the big league games and the those squishy balls, dude.
Yeah.
We used to play with them in the house. Unfortunately,
I was about to say that. You guys would play outside with that? We played in the house and just let it rip.
Dude, we made our own little field back here inside of our house, and I parked one on top of the freaking neighbor's roof. It was always hopping fences back then and whatnot, getting the ball.
Yeah. Like the Sandlot, hopping the fence, dodging the dog a little bit, you know what I mean?
Our neighbor, they actually have a pretty big dog. So, like, we would kick balls over there, hit baseballs, and, like, you'd be scouting it out. Then you'd hop the fence and you'd sprint your butt off back to the thing. So
some might say you're Benny the Jet Rodriguez, and that's a movie reference, not anything else.
No.
But
I was about to say one myself. I was about to say a lot of our old teammates would laugh. I got pretty good at jumping fences. So.
So on another note, we'll move on from that. So now, okay, so you get the love of baseball. Your dad played minor league ball. Your brother played. You played wiffle ball, that kind of stuff. You're you're going to high school, and in Miami, where you're from, high school baseball is prominent, right? You guys are high school baseball is like actually like legitimately competitive all year round. Like everyone's playing baseball. But in high school, it's like, okay, it's a big deal about high school baseball in Miami especially. So what decision did you have to make going to high school? Did you make a decision? Did you stay locally?
So I'll tell you what, like a lot of my friends growing up, they all played the travel ball, and I would play like a random tournament here and there with a travel ball team, but I never really played travel ball year round because I was always doing every sport, like I said.
Yeah.
I was playing basketball when it was basketball season, football when it was football season, baseball when it was baseball. The weird thing was growing up, like whatever sport was in season and on TV, that was my favorite sport.
Mm.
Like when it was football season, I didn't want to hear about baseball. I didn't want to watch it. Didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
You know. And as soon as it turned baseball or October, or as soon as it was like basketball season, I was all in. And funny enough, so I didn't play that much baseball growing. I mean, I played, but not the year-round stuff that a lot of kids down here do. And then 8th grade year, I decided I wanted to quit baseball. I told my parents, I was like, I'm done with it. I'm over it. And that I wanted to be a basketball player. Which they tried to be nice and be like, we don't know if you're going to turn out with the height, but. And then I ended up picking it back up, baseball back up, because I saw my brother playing in high school and I saw how much fun he had. So I picked it back up going into freshman year of high school. And I decided to keep playing football as well. And I kind of just rode those two out the rest of the high school just because it was so much fun.
Yeah, that's actually very similar to how I was. In 8th grade, I wanted to quit baseball and play basketball and stuff like that. And, you know, I thought I was really good in basketball because I'm dominating my local rec league. And I'm like, I'm dropping 40 on these kids. Like, they can't touch me. You know what I mean? I'm Grayson Allen. I was a big Grayson Allen fan at the time.
Oh, I mean,
and I'm like,
the amount of three,
come on, I'm him.
The buzzer beater threes you're hitting in the backyard, they give you confidence. They make you think, you know.
Give you confidence. You're doing your layup line by yourself, thinking about the scenarios, and you're just dropping buckets on nobody out there. So, Nick, tell Anthony growing up how similar we were. Just all of us, like when the season came, football season came. We're getting football cleats. We're getting ready to, you know, we're fired up about it.
We're in the backyard, full pads. We're just decking each other. I got me playing running back, Joe playing linebacker. We're doing Oklahoma drills on a random Sunday.
That's
basketball season will come around. Me and Joe will be normal, and then we'll be playing, and then we'll see this nut come out with his headband on and his arm sleeve. His John Cena headband on his bicep didn't fit. And he would just be going crazy.
Dude, that's so funny.
Oh, yeah. Nick, this is the last time you're on the show. No more guest host for you. Exposing me. Kidding me?
John Cena headband. Bro, me and my brother didn't do the – I mean, we would fight. No doubt. Because he would – like I said, he would kick my butt and everything, and we would fight. I remember getting this mini little – they made these mini NFL footballs, and I got one that was like the breast cancer one. So it had like the little pink flag. So I thought it was the coolest. I would take it everywhere with me. I was kicking field goals. I was making like field goals out of trees at my house, kicking like 40-yarders with a mini football. It was so fun.
You probably find that in your backyard right now, and it's all like old and stuff, and you look at it and you're like, you were good to me.
I know
exactly. You're good to me, ball.
It was. I had to have a nice ceremony because I remember at my last field goal I kicked with it right into like a bushes full of thorns and it popped. It was tragic. It was tragic.
You hate to see that.
You know, because I see some old balls that I used to play with when I'm younger, and I'm like, wow.
That Peyton Manning football.
Yeah, I still have it. I'm like, oh my God, like that's my favorite football like ever. Like
that's what I'm saying.
That is just like my whole childhood. And you know what? People always like. Now I understand why people run back into fires to go get stuff in their house. They're like, "What are you doing? It's a football." No,
dude,
more than a football to me. You know.
I don't know about you guys, but you just brought it. I always would like randomly look around my room and be like, if there was a fire, what am I taking? Like, I gotta take this stuff with us. So what? I don't know why. It's like. Taking my PlayStation. I'm taking this football.
That's about it.
So okay, all right. Let's get back into where we're going with this. So now you're in 8th grade. You're going to high school.
Right.
Get to high school, you pick up baseball again. Wait, before this, you're playing football, right? You're playing football as a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And you know, I hear from. You know, they're a pretty good quarterback. And did you always play quarterback?
Yeah, dude. So my first football team I ever played on, it was with a friend that I'm still friends with now. It's actually a couple of friends that I'm still friends with now. But I remember I was like a safety like linebacker type thing and an offensive lineman. And I remember the offensive coach, like I had always been a quarterback in like the flag football stuff. And this offensive guy is he's on me about everything. He was yelling so hard. And like I was used to my dad yelling at me, but I never had somebody else yell at me like that. And I was just like telling him like I hate it. I don't wanna play offensive line. Like that's not who I am. And
this is in high school.
No. This is in like
This is
Pee-wee.
previous high school. Okay,
Yes.
okay. This is when you first started playing football. Okay,
Right.
okay. Continue.
One day the coaches saw me like messing around, like literally before practice, just messing around throwing a football, and they were like, "Oh my god, he's kind of got an arm." And from that day, I played quarterback every time. I was always the quarterback.
Wow.
Yeah, and even in high school, I was severely undersized. I was tiny. But I don't know. I just was able to be like athletic, and I don't know. I just figured it out. I was smart, so
Slinging the football around. So you're in high school. Did you have any thoughts about playing college football?
I did, dude. I really wanted to, but in the back of my head, I kind of always figured baseball was going to be the route, just because, like, I mean, like I said, I was good in high school. I was undersized though, so like a college coach would stroll in and be like, "Yeah, he's pretty good, but like, we're not going to take him. He's not big enough." You know, because I mean, you guys have seen it. Those those college Division I football players are huge.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I wanted to bring this up. Yeah, so that's interesting because Nick right now is currently working for Miami, their football team, and he's he recruits high school players. And Nick, I actually want you to share on what you look for.
I was just about to ask Anthony, you in high school, like what were your specs? Where'd you go to high school?
Dude, so funny enough, that's actually fun. I played with a good amount of guys that went to Miami. Like a lot of the kids I went to Columbus, and a lot of the kids I played with went on to be like Power 5 Division I like football players. One of my teammates is actually playing right now. He's a former teammate. He's on the Panthers. He was the 9th overall pick out of like Florida. So we had a bunch of studs with me. Yeah. Another teammate is he's the running back, Henry Parrish.
Oh, Harlem. Yeah, he's a good kid. He's been up and down the last few games, but like he's gonna get there.
Yeah, that's
but yeah, going to Columbus. You going Columbus. Coach Cristobal went there. Alonzo Highsmith, some of the greats from Miami went to Columbus. You really have to decide whether it's going to be football or it's going to be baseball really early on, because that place doesn't mess around. So what really steered you towards playing baseball instead of football in high school?
Well, in high school I did both. And I guess what I mean, like I said, in the back of my mind, I don't know why, I just always felt like baseball was the better chance of me being a professional and like being more successful. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the first thing I ever picked up, but that's kind of how. I mean, I loved football though. I thought it was so much fun. I would have loved to play it, but I just didn't think it was like something legit. If you can get one, you know.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Nick.
I've gotten talking to these high school coaches around here. They kind of tell the kids pretty early on in their high school careers due to size and stuff how they're going to pan out. And I don't know if it was in your case, your coach telling you or whoever telling you about football, but they kind of let you know pretty early what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I kind of don't.
Go ahead.
Well, Nick, coming off of what you said right there, when coaches tell somebody how it's going to pan out and stuff like that, I'm going to just put this out there for the younger listeners out there. Do never, ever, ever let a coach tell you where your future is going to be, because it doesn't matter what your size is currently or where you are or where you want to be. as long as you believe in yourself and you do everything in your power to prove that guy wrong, then you can do it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it or predict your future, because you never know. Work hard and you'll probably do it.
Yeah.
But that's, very cliche. And
No,
I'm gonna before I go on a rant, I'm gonna let Tony go.
What's weird about what you just said is I had like a lot of people tell me I couldn't do things. Like I remember being a freshman or sophomore. Like I said, I was undersized. I was good because I was athletic, but like I had like parents sometimes telling me like, "Are you gonna decide? Like you should probably decide and focus on one." And I was like, I learned from a like young age to just like nod my head and be like, "Yeah, you're probably right," and then just like walk away being like, it's out my head already. I don't even remember what they told me. And then to that point, like I remember even when I got to college, before senior year of high school, after the baseball season, I had a pretty good baseball season that year. And this guy that did like trips at the time for like rising seniors, he took them to colleges, and he ended up being a MLB scout. He told my parents like, you should send him to a Division II. Like he's not going to do anything. Just send him to a good school. Like make sure he gets a good grades. And then when he came and watched me at Miami, he was like, he apologized to my parents. It was actually pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was I only say that about the coaches and stuff because I hear it all the time in our meetings. They're like, guys can throw the ball 70 yards, but if he's 5'9", 5'10", 180 pounds, he's not playing at Division I level. Right. That's just unfortunately what they say. It's not to discourage anyone. It's just in those meetings, it's what they're saying. I don't want to discourage anyone from going out there and giving it their heart.
You know what? If you're an undersized player right now, look up Inky Johnson and let him tell you if you can't do it or not, something like that. Because honestly, it really doesn't matter. It really does not matter, and especially baseball. This is a baseball podcast, but this is overall sports. But baseball podcast, it really doesn't matter what kind of circumstance you're in right now. Because Tony, I guarantee when you're sophomore in high school, sitting in class, walking around your high school or whatever, how many out of 100 people, how many people think you would have played professional baseball, be a professional pitcher?
None of them. That's what
zero.
Somebody from my I saw someone from my high school the other day, and we were literally talking about that. I was like, I mean, I already knew no one expected anything from me.
Yeah, but of course not.
Like I said, I never really cared. Like I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew that I thought I could do it, so I just worked at it.
Yeah. Anyone tell you, they thought you could do it all
along? My dad actually did. He legitimately did.
Well, he probably actually does. Yeah, yeah. He legitimately.
Dude, honestly, it was tough because I remember my senior year, I had a really good year. I won the county pitcher of the year down here in Miami-Dade, and I went all the way to like the state tournament, and all my friends are going to like Division I schools, and like for some reason I had a couple like small school offers, but we really couldn't afford them, honestly, and like because the schools were expensive, and I ended up going to a junior college, which I'm thankful I did, but like at the time I was like, man, like what? How come they get to go there and I don't? Like, but I ended up just working at it, and it worked out.
Well, that's good. I mean, you had a very successful high school career, and still scouts weren't interested in you because probably the velo was down and the size was out.
Right.
And they were like, they already written you off. Oh, the size is not there. He's not really projected, whatever. But guess what? You go to, thank God, I got to say, out of high school, I was the same way. I didn't even know what a JUCO was before I got to high school. There was one junior college across the street, and me and my parents actually told me, you're never going to a JUCO ever. Like, it's ridiculous, whatever. And then when I first got to JUCO, it actually, like, it's a whole nother world. Like, there are 3 divisions, and it's competitive. It's especially in Florida, whole nother world. Like, it's like a legitimate college experience when you go to one of these JUCOs in Florida and or North Carolina where I was, and it's like people don't understand that there are some dudes, some actual dudes that go to junior college. Guess what? A lot of them are pros. A lot of them are in the big leagues.
Yep.
I remember
Bryce Harper and Albert Pujols. So
yeah,
go ahead.
I remember going to got into the junior college, right? And like I said, like a lot of my career, like in everything, people just forgot about it. Like they didn't expect anything of me. You know, they forgot about me. And I think my brother and my dad were big at that time in my life. Like they helped me a lot with just like advice and like encouragement. And I ended up working my butt off because I wanted to go to a big school. I was like first team all conference as a freshman. I ended up getting small school offers, but again, I wanted to get a bigger offer, so I went back and I got it. But no, you're right. I remember the first time I had never seen anyone throw 95 miles an hour or harder than that. And I go to the state tournament, the playoffs, and one of my like former teammates, he went to Miami with me, ended up Jake Smith, as a freshman, comes out there slinging 98 miles an hour. He broke up all that. And I was just like, what am I watching right now? I couldn't believe it. It was the first time I ever saw that. And I was like, wow, this is insanity.
Well, okay, so let's bring it. Now you're in college, right? What junior college did you go to? Tell everyone where you went.
Johnny Wiggs.
Okay, so
Johnny Wiggs.
Santa Fe. So when I want you to want to tell the audience that you went from playing 3 sports in high school.
Right. Well, 2 in high school, 3 in childhood.
2 in high school, 3 in general, right?
Yeah.
You go to junior college as a freshman, right? I want you to disclose your height and weight at this point.'re going into freshman year of junior college.
So at this point, I think I was 5'9", 170, 168 pounds, something like that. I was tiny.
How hard you were throwing?
At that point, I was 85, 86, touching 87, right? Yeah. I was so undersized, and I was also 17 years old, you know. That's so it just made sense for me to go there. And like I said, with the football and the constant other sports in childhood, I didn't play that much baseball as much as other kids had by the time we all were freshmen, you know? So that was the beginning of like playing baseball year round, was that year. And
so I'm gonna ask something here. Playing the other sports, how much do you think that helped with your development? I mean, obviously throwing a football more than other people, you're building that arm strength. You don't even know it. And the footwork when it comes to dropping back and stuff like that. How much did that help you in baseball? Playing the other sports.
I think everybody should play multiple sports. Just because it's like, aside from like you build athleticism, it's fun. I don't know why people wouldn't want to play multiple sports. You know, it's fun. You get to meet more people, like you're friends with more people. But dude, you learn a lot of things mentally that like you might not get at the you know, like while you're in the present of it. You know, you might not understand what you're learning mentally. But like as life continued to go on, I realized things that I learned from football, like mentally, and I was like, wow, like I'm better for it. But yeah, the athleticism you get from stuff like that, being able to play different sports, hand-eye coordination, just the skills, it's great.
Yeah, I mean the mental side of everything is huge, especially in baseball. Nick, I want you to talk about what kind of goes on with you guys as a football team in college. Like, what's the mentality there? That it's kind of similar to what a high school is, because it's, you know, they're building to get there. So
I would say I always encourage all these high school kids to play a lot of sports, like you said, is very important, because if you play baseball, especially as a pitcher, it's more of like an isolated game. It's you and the catcher in your head. But in football, you need all 11 guys to do their job, or you're not going to win that game. And throughout 4 years of playing football, you learn how to play as a team. You understand that you need everyone on the team in order to get to the next level, and that you need to win that game. But that's what we preach at the University of Miami, is that in order to win this game, you need to do your job. You have to trust the guy next to you to do his job, and you guys will be successful. And I think playing multiple sports, like you said, is just what most kids need to do in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean that's I mean you said it perfectly right there because most guys think of baseball isolated sport and they think about only sit to themselves, right? Especially pitchers. And you got to build that trust and I think other sports do that.
Yeah.
Building the trust, it's like you're a let me just put an example out there. You're a pitcher or you're a quarterback, you have to trust that center is going to give you a good snap every time, right? And you're a pitcher, you got to trust that catcher is going to block that ball in the dirt. So it's that kind of trust that you build, I think, from the other sports. I mean, Tony, you play
Dude,
quarterback,
no,
so you
you
know
guys,
exactly what that's like.
that's like that was one of the when I learned. So the guys that I like, there was one guy backed up, he was really good, and then we kind of the next guy backed up, he kind of like he struggled a little bit, and it just like when it clicked in my head when I was a starter that like I just need to worry about doing what I need to do. I don't need to worry about if the receivers are going to be open, you know? Like I learned to trust the guys around me like you said and like not staring like, you know, some quarterbacks will stare at the offensive line, they don't want to get hit. They don't trust their linemen, you know? When I learned to just trust them and I'm not looking at the linemen anymore, now I'm looking at the defense, I'm doing my job, I'm worrying about what I need to do and I'm trusting that they'll do their job. I got so much better at football. And it applies to everything you said. Like in baseball, I don't need to try and because in baseball it's really easy to try and do too much, you know. But if I could trust my infield to make every play, I don't need to be telling myself throw every ball in the black and strike everyone out, you know. So
Yeah,
that's very important to learn for sure.
like you said, I would add to it. It's like you're not going to go out and pitch and strike out 27 batters.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen. You got to trust that shortstop's going to make that play. Just like when you drop back, you know that receiver's going to make that hitch at the 5-yard line. Just drop back, hit that third step, and boom, ball's out. Like, you don't have time to worry about anything else.
Oh, yeah, that was a really like. I was about to say it too. Like as soon as I learned to worry about myself, do my job, you know, and trust my teammates because they work just as hard and they're accountable, you know, everything got better.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, Tony, I'm gonna bring this up here. I don't think I've ever told you this before, but for people that don't know, I play with Anthony in the summer in Woodstock, and I used to catch for him. And what Anthony was doing there was working on pitches. He was working on pitches, trying to find himself as a pitcher. And you know what? Like his results were pretty good, stuff like that. But it was a little different on the mound. He was kind of, you know, trying to place the ball, not really trusting things and stuff like that. It was kind of like a dynamic thing. I mean, summer ball, you're not really as a team. But this year, playing with Anthony in Virginia Tech, there was so much confidence and trust that he had in his other teammates to do the job. He didn't even look. Ball was hit on the ground. He didn't look. He knew that ball was going to get field. And if it didn't happen, all right, you got the next one. You had such a different energy this year pitching, and I think that's why your success was so much higher. You were able to execute so much. You trusted everybody on that team. And, you know, kudos to you because coming from a different school, especially a rival school in the same conference, to trust a full team that you played against last year, it really shows how how quickly you're able to move on from that. And I think it really affected how you played, just the way you trusted your teammates.
You gotta trust the guys. I mean, and then like everyone messes up. If for all the pitchers out there, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves when a pitcher he like snaps at an infielder or gets mad that someone doesn't make a play. Like you're gonna walk guys. Like I'm gonna walk a guy. I'm gonna give up a home run. I'm gonna hit a guy. You know, like what if they threw a hissy fit every time I did something like that? You know, you can't do it. It goes both ways. You know, everyone's gonna mess up. It's how you react to it. You know, so.
I'm gonna bring up a perfect example of that. This is how it happened this year. We're playing against Florida State
Yeah,
you got the Friday night start. You need a big Friday night start. And beginning of the game, I think it was the first pitch, absolute nuke.
yeah, it was first pitch.
Gave up an absolute nuke. But you gave up two homers that inning. I think, 5 runs you gave up? Yeah,
totally.
5 runs. Guess what? Our team at that point, we came in, we're like, you know what? We got you. We got you. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to go out the next inning and give up none. And guess what? We put it back on them, and guess what? You shoved for the rest of the game. So that's what I mean about the trust. A lot of teammates, they're like, oh, they give up 5 runs in the first inning. Game's over.
Yeah.
Game's over. Tony's going to go back out there and get shelled again. No. We were like, okay, I hear you. And you're like, you know what? We put the runs back on for you, and you're like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
You came out, you started shoving, and that's just a perfect example of what a team actually should be doing. Trust. And a pitcher trusting the hitters to get those runs back.
No doubt.
So now let's dive back into where we were. You're in junior college and 170 pounds. You're not that big.
Right.
What development did you start doing? Because now you're only playing one sport. What development did you start doing to really increase that velo? Because the velo is the biggest thing for scouts to see. So, I'm 2-part question. How did you increase your velo, and how did you pitch without the velo before that?
So, honestly, at the beginning, come into the fall, 85, 80, 87, like more 86, but I remember my brother was at South Alabama, right? I had hung out with all his friends. Like, I knew all his friends there. It seemed like an awesome place. That's where I wanted to go. And I wanted to go play with my brother. And he straight up told me, like, dude, look, like, you got to throw harder. Like, they want a guy who throws harder, so you got to throw harder. And I remember that fall, I come out, I literally just started trying to throw harder, right? Obviously, I was working out more in college, and whatnot. So working out more, probably got a little stronger than I was in high school. But literally just trying to throw harder got me to like 87, 88, touch 89, maybe 90, that freshman year. But the biggest growth I had was that pitching coach I played for, both of them. They both played in AAA. One of them played with my dad, actually, in minor leagues. And, dude, they were incredible. I mean, these guys, they pretty much put it in your head. You do not walk, guys. You throw multiple pitches in any count, and you just throw strikes and let everything play out. So that freshman year, I remember, dude, I'm throwing all these 2-0 changeups, 2-0 sliders, 3-1 changeups, 3-1 slider, and it got me like a lot of good outings doing that, and it taught me like how to pitch, kind of, if you.
Yeah.
Because I mean.
So
I don't want to throw you something that you want to hit. I want to throw you what you don't want to hit. So, but
so Anthony, going back to the development part of it, was it more of you changed your mindset, or is it like you physically did something different, like lifted weights? You were doing a program with weighted balls, doing all these crazy band works.
I think that freshman year, it was a little bit of the mindset, right? Because I literally just put a focus on it. I wanted to throw harder. And I got the small school offers that freshman year. And then that summer, when I decided I wanted to go back and I wanted to get a big, big offer, I grinded in the weight room. I think I got up to like 180 pounds, right? So I put on weight, and like I remember I would speak to coaches, and they would straight up be like, you look like way better. Like, you look big. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean, I worked hard. And then that 87, 89, that fall went to like 89, 92. And they started looking at me different, because I still had like 4 different pitches. So I think that was huge. And then the real big jump I got when I got to Miami, I got to like 185, 190, something like that. And I remember I got contact traced for COVID. All fall I had been 89, 91. Contact trace for COVID. I missed like 3 days, maybe a week. I come back and I start throwing like 91, 92, 93, and everyone was like, what the heck happened? So I think like just being athletic, trying to throw the ball harder, and like getting stronger in the weight, because I grinded in the weight room at Miami. You know, that we loved lifting there. All the relievers, we like really bought in. But I think honestly, yeah, that weight room emphasis, getting stronger, and I was still pretty athletic. That helped it for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, you have a good year. You go back your second year. When did you get that? When did you get the Miami offer? Like, what part of your sophomore year did you get the Miami offer?
So I remember, again, all those same schools that offered me the freshman year, they offered me again, and they're like pushing me, like they're wanting me to make a decision, and I told them straight up, like, I'm not deciding until the end of the fall, like it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess my dad had spoke to the pitching coach at Miami at the time, JD Arteaga, early in the fall, and he was like, Fern, like I don't know that he would start here, but like we like him. And my dad was like, no, he wants to start. I didn't even know that they spoke. And then I throw in like the Florida Junior College State All-Star game. Me and my best friend, we're throwing it, and we're out eating with our parents after the game. And my dad, like, we're talking about schools, and my dad throws out, yeah, Miami liked him, like they wanted him. And I'm like, I literally was at the table. I was like, what? No, they didn't. They never spoke to me. He was like, you want to see the text? And then we end up going to the car. I'm like, what do you mean you have text? He's like, yes, look. I was like, why'd you turn that down? And he was like, you want me to tell him you're interested? I was like, yes. And so I got that offer in like October-ish, late October. And it took a week to get it.
Your dad was back into scout mode. Was like, hey, he turned into an agent real quick. He's like,
Yeah.
He's not going to start. He ain't going there. What are you kidding?
Yeah. I mean,
kind of sick joke is this?
Because we had gone on a couple of visits, and he really liked one of the schools. It was Georgia Southern. He loved that place.
Yeah, I mean, I hope your dad watches this, because I love your dad and your mom. So shout out to them. I get 2 stud pitchers, so that's a plus to them. But yeah, no, that's funny that's how it happened. I mean, if he never told you that,
dude, I always think about that.
Funny.
Like, if he would have never brought that up,
my dad
at the dinner, like,
yeah, no, my dad would have done the same thing if they told me, the time if they're like, hey, we don't want him to catch, we want him to play outfield. They'd be like, no, it ain't happening. That's just not happening. It could have been Vanderbilt,
I remember Mike Bocock telling Sparbs that he was going to get him, and I was excited because I knew that Miami was going to play Clemson that next year, and I was like, let's go get Sparber to Clemson. And then
Mike Bocock is Woodstock coach for
summer. Oh man, that guy was something else.
Yeah. So he told me day in and day out that he talked to the head coach of Clemson. They're going to give me an offer. And as a kid coming from JUCO as well, I'm thinking, God, I'm the man. Like, I'm like, I am the man. Like, I'm going to Clemson, as he would say it. He would say, I'm going to Clemson. And I was like, yeah, I guess I am going to Clemson. I guess you spoke to the head coach. And you know what? If Mike Bocock is listening to this, I don't care. I'm going to say it, because I call a Clemson coach, and he's like, I just haven't talked to Mike in years, to be honest with you. I don't know what you're saying.
I never knew that.
It's like, I don't. It's just like, I haven't talked to Mike in a while. Like, this is news to me. Well, he told me to call you because you have an offer waiting for me. He's like, we like you, but like, no, we don't like have an offer waiting for you. I haven't even talked to Mike, and
that's freaking brutal.
Eventually, it went through, which kind of stunk, because I was wanting to go. I thought I was going to Clemson. I mean, summer ball coach is like, going to Clemson. Congratulations. He congratulated me. Shook my hand.
No,
he's like, congratulations. You're going to Clemson. You're getting called tonight.
No way.
What?
I would have kicked that guy off the bucket so fast.
Well, I saw a Clemson scout at one of the games. And, I was like, oh, maybe he's legit. The Clemson scout wasn't. He's just like, oh, this Clemson scout's here for you. Nick Clemson's guy wasn't even there
Yeah.
for me. He was there for our
We had some
shortstop.
studs in that league.
Yeah, Edric Felix. He's a pro now.
Edric
He went
Felix.
to
Wyatt Langford.
Jack Hurley.
Jack Hurley was in it for a little bit. There was another
Garrett
one.
Evil.
Garrett
They're all in there.
Rick Paul, the guy right
No,
there.
no, that team was stacked. The Tom Sox, they were just unbelievably stacked.
I mean, 8th round pick.
Yeah, C-Dub. I mean, they had another kid that I'm forgetting. I discredited this guy.
They actually did have it. He pitched in the All-Star. His name is Michael Darrell Hicks. He's in Double-A right now.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yep. That's him. That team was pretty good.
Oh, Zach Levinson. You remember the home run derby?
Yeah.
Zach Levinson. He got drafted. He played with me in Miami. He got drafted. He was in that.
It's great.
We had some studs in that league.
No, we had some dudes. Woodstock. Unfortunately, we really didn't have too many. We had a hell of a coach though. He gave some very false information. You know,
a good town.
Very false information. Yeah, he told Tony that he's lined up to start next year in Miami.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I talked JD. Yeah. So
he's like telling me,
people out there going to Woodstock, don't listen to Bocock, please.
Yeah, he was my host dad. And the night we all got there, he's telling me and Regalado, who's also a professional baseball player right now, another guy we forgot to mention, but he tells me and Regalado, like, yeah, JD keeps telling me he wants you guys to start next year for him. And at the time, we're like, oh, let's go. Like, that's sick. Little did we know, Mike Bocock misunderstood the assignment. JD wanted us to start at Woodstock. Never mentioned anything about at Miami. But that guy,
dude, honestly, like
because the thing is, like, win or lose, guess what? He's got to wake up and do the whole process over again.
You guys had plenty of fun there.
Especially like play good in the bad. Oh well, like I'm gonna whether I play good or play bad, tomorrow's gonna come and I'm gonna wake up and start the whole process over again. You know.
Yeah, on the phone,
just that mental state
closer
of how I approach
started getting
things.
Closer with you guys towards the end, and
you
guys, they had a lot of fun. So
using the mental side
really
more, it's very important at that young age, for sure.
No. Yeah. Quiet kid. Very quiet. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris, by the way. This man got me. He got me right. He got me on my cold tub grind. Now I do it. I love doing it. Oh, it's chilly. He had me coming over there at 7 a.m, breaking ice to get in there. I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. To get in the tub.
Are you shocked?
It's bad. It's cold, dude. I
mean, are you shocked? Look at him. For people that don't know, I'm not gonna like disclose. You know what? I don't give a shit. I really don't care.
No.
Mike Bocock is about 6'5", 300 pounds. Okay,
no, I've adopted it.
300
I love
is generous. Generous 300.
That guy was a moose.
He is one of the largest human beings I've ever seen. And for you to think he was getting, I don't think he even knows what chicken, broccoli, and rice is. That guy's living off Mountain Dew, Diet Coke, cheeseburgers and hot dogs
Yes,
year
sir.
in and year out.
Thank you guys for having me.
Okay,
dude.
cholesterol through the roof. We don't care. We're American at Woodstock.
Let's grow
Yeah.
this channel.
We're crushing 6-pack of beers. Yeah, oh yeah.
Let's do it.
You had to drive Bocock home?
Well, you'd get tired. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Woodstock, it gets nasty up there. Yeah. Oh my god. He's no, oh man, that's crazy. He's actually he's just such a because you know why he dozed off? Because they would after our post game meal would just be fried chicken, mac and cheese, sweet tea, great for an athlete post game. We don't care. Let's do it. Cookies, yeah. Yeah, he would get in the car. He's stumbling in the car. He's basically drunk off the sugar. And he's dozing off. He probably got back home, crushed a 6-pack, and and laid out. I mean, you know what? Maybe yeah, 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 yeah. So, looks like you pick up that sandwich and throw it away because your appetite's lost. Because you just saw Santa Claus come out in his underwear.
Listen, I came to a few of those games. Mike
Oh,
Bocock might have looked like he was going to keel over on that bucket. But I'll tell you this much. That man coached a hell of a ball game. He
oh,
tried.
come on.
He coached a hell of a ball game.
I know. No, his post game event. All right. Listen, we didn't get this one, but it's a long season in the back. Long season. Long season. And it's just look. He's got his hat off. Trust me, I would never send with somebody that. Let's put it that way. He called me this summer and asked if I wanted to play in the playoffs for him. You got to play playoffs for us. After I go a full season in the valley, catching pens, and he's like, "Look, man, I mean, mind you, I'm getting someone. We got guys coming in left and right, and I'm still sitting the bench. Is like, look, we got another guy coming in, but we'll mix in for you. No, I got shafted the whole summer. Okay, so Mike, I'm not coming to play with you this summer. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I can't bear seeing you sit on that bucket anymore. Yeah, I'm actually good. I'm actually good on that because first of all, summer ball playoffs is who can lose first is the competition. Because I would never say that ever. Losing is never the option. But man, you play full season, you go to summer ball, you play full season, and in 2 weeks you got to go back to school and do it all again. You're thinking, everyone on the team's thinking, we gotta lose this thing. You don't try to lose, but man, when you do, it's like,
Whatever.
let's go. We get to go home. A little bit. I mean, you're playing. So yeah. Before that, let's bring it back to you go to Miami. What happens when you go to Miami from junior college? You're going to a Power Five school, and Miami is no joke. Obviously, I don't care what level you are. You know the University of Miami. Everyone knows the University of Miami. Okay, so what was the difference between junior college, University of Miami? That first fall hits, and it probably hit you like a freight train. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, way easier said than done. I mean, you're going into a place where these guys are dudes. Like these guys are dudes. I don't know what year you went into. Terrell probably had, I think it was his going into his junior year. Is that correct? Because the year before he had 24 jacks in the ACC, and it's like you got McMahon throwing 98. You know what I mean? It's like Slade. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, yeah, I mean, most of these freshmen coming in are turned down the MLB draft at Miami. Like these guys are legit. Yeah, there you go. And it's like, yeah, it's nuts. It's unbelievably crazy how crazy like the talent is at those schools. And it's like a shorter guy like you, and if someone who's not throwing as hard as those guys, how did you compete? Is my question. What was the mindset there? Hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, 100%, 100%. I think that think it was, it's really good. Being he's not on the podcast today, I want to I want you to tell us a little bit about, because now you don't know me, you don't know Nick, you don't know anyone. The first person you meet out of the three of us is Joe. What was your experience meeting Joe? I think he was manager at that point, helping around, and you're like, and you're probably thinking like, who's this guy? Like everyone, he's friends with everyone, and he doesn't even play with. He was on the podcast, so yeah. Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, Joe would tell me like, yeah, he does. He used to just, I mean, he wasn't even part of the team. He didn't even get paid, nothing like that. He would just go and show up, throw BP, right? Catch pens, do whatever the team needed. I mean, he lives with Fed and McMahon. So it's just like, yeah, like, oh, and he used to go like late at night after he studied and throw BP to Rao and stuff like that. So it's like,
Yeah, Joe was crazy. I remember when I first transferred in my junior year. This was after Joe phased out. I get a call at 11:30. Nick, what are you doing? I'd be like, nothing. Just laying in bed. He'd be like, want to come to the field? I'm throwing beeps. I'm like, what the?
yeah.
It's like I'm throwing beeps. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm like,
no,
he's like, come watch. I'm like, all right. I'm like, all right.
I don't know how Joe did it, man. He just he didn't even play, and he still had that passion for the guys and for the sport. It was just like he was so busy doing it, medical school and stuff like that, like studying, and he would still find a way. I mean, he traveled too, even when he
Yeah,
wasn't playing. He traveled.
he's
And it's like, mhm. Yeah, yeah. I guess me and him are similar, right?
yeah.
So okay, so then you meet me, and then I told I'm like, oh, I'm Joe's brother, and you're probably thinking, oh, like he's gonna be another nice guy who's really smart. Was that the case?
Left.
Yeah, yeah. No, we had. I mean, it was really cool because we played in summer ball together, and I remember when you transferred from Miami. Let's get back into it. You're transferring to Miami, and you're in the transfer portal, and I remember I'm committed to Virginia Tech at this point, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? And I start getting calls from. I appreciate that. And so I get calls from coaches at Virginia Tech, and they're like, "Yeah, like, what do you know about Anthony Arguelles?" And I was like, "Anthony Arguelles, it's my guy. Like, that guy's a stud. You know what I mean?" Like, they're like, "Well, we want him bad," and I'm like, "Okay, then give him an offer. I don't know what to tell you." Like, okay, like, cool. So then they're calling me every day about Tony, like, please, well, what can we do? We're gonna off the offer, and I'm like, look, like, yeah, I think he's going to Arizona State. Like, you're gonna really need to do something here. And then eventually, you're in the car with me. Where was I? Where you're in the car with me? I'm driving with Wyatt Langford in the car, and I call you. I'm like, oh, Wyatt, like, I'll call you. I'm gonna call Anthony Arguelles. Anthony can pick up, right? I'm like, yeah, like I'm in the car with somebody. You might know him. I don't know, but we had to talk about Virginia Tech stuff. So I give Wyatt the phone, and he's like, "Oh, what's up, man?" And you're like, "Oh, like you look so familiar. Like, who are you?" type of thing. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, like." And Wyatt's such a good. Like, he wasn't gonna be like, "Oh, you don't know me?" No, he was like, "Oh, like I played for Florida this year." And I was like, "Tony, it's Wyatt Langford," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I know him." Yeah, he had a haircut, and Tony had no idea it was Wyatt, and we thought that was funny, but we had to talk about Virginia Tech stuff, and then eventually you come into Virginia Tech, and now it's like, okay, we're going to the same school. We were going to live together. Um, we were going to live together. I'm glad that things worked out the other way. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. But no, so we're yeah. So we go to Virginia. You go to Virginia Tech. We're there in the fall. And what was the difference like at Virginia Tech compared to Miami? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, I mean the difference though. I mean honestly, Miami, Virginia Tech. Like I never played him. Obviously, Joe's experience, your experience. I know. Um, Miami's different than Virginia. Let's be real. Miami and Virginia are completely two different things. Virginia gets cold in the fall, but guess what? In the fall, now you get to go to football tailgates. You get to hang out at different places. New experience than Miami, completely. Miami, what you're going to get in Miami. Virginia Tech, Blacksburg, there's really nothing there except the guys. So it's like, oh, like okay, cool. Like everyone's at the same place all the time. You know what I mean? Like everyone, you know where everyone's at. So I think that the culture wise, that was a good night. That was indeed a good night. Yeah, Tony was the skeleton. Yeah, Tony was the skeleton.
Let's hear this.
No idea.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember exactly what you're talking about. Let me dive deep into this story here. We're at our friend's house. This is Jack Hurley, Gary Gable, Tackett, all those guys, Canonzero, DB. That's their house, right? 1103. 1103 is what the house is. And we go there. Like you said, it was only 8 or 10 of us. We're all in costumes. We're just hanging out, all in costumes. Then we played this card game with my roommate, Kieran Higgins. And he's just big guy, big Buffalo guy, right? Big, loud. He's very animated. Um, and we play this horse game, and he is absolutely hysterical when he's doing it. He's literally doing the commentary like a horse race is actually going on, like it's legit. And honestly, like that inspired me to do that other places, which I did, but no one did it better than him. And he Oh my, he was just hysterical. Like it was just like, the hearts are moving up, and we got fired up over nothing. We were fired up over cars going up, and that was one of the most fun I've had. And then we went to go hang out with other guys on the team, and then other sports, So we got to mix in with Virginia Tech as a whole, but everyone was in a costume, so it was a lot of fun. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, hmm, yeah. Well, there's more options too because there are some guys that would go out to go out, or then there's like house parties and a different house party, and it was just a different vibe that you could do anything. Nick, what were you gonna say?
I got a tough question for you, Anthony. Here, you got the Strip in Virginia Tech to go out, or you got the Grove. Where you going?
Mm, mm.
Oh, yeah, it changed. Yep, Wharf's closed down. Okay,
Yeah, so like obviously of age drinking,
of age.
responsibly.
Um,
Um, mhm.
Another question. This is back towards baseball. Going towards back to when you transferred out of Miami to Virginia Tech. I know in football, one transfer portal, you kind of sort of know who's going to hit it soon, who's going to hit the portal when. How early did you know you were going to hit it, and how fast did it happen when you did? How fast did school start reaching out to you? Yep. Yeah, it.
Hey, how you doing? We gave you a shout out. We gave you a shout out earlier for making a fantastic picture in the sun. Mm, mm. Well, so okay,
Transfer portal.
we're transfer portal. You're at Virginia Tech, but
Yep.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting when I hear it from the baseball perspective, because in football, it's like we are watching, and I'm assuming it happens in baseball as well. Like we're project right now, we're advanced scouting all the teams in the nation, preparing for the transfer portal to see who's going to hit certain times. So I'm assuming in baseball they knew or assumed that you were going to hit the portal, so they knew that they were going to come after you. So I just Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so for people that don't know, Anthony was he was a reliever in Miami, relief pitcher. Usually short term or a little bit of long term relief, maybe a 2 3 inning guy. You come to Blacksburg in agreement that you're going to be a starter, and your transition to be a starter. I mean, you were tirelessly like just working on that, but you come in, you're coming from the Cape, and really good in the Cape. Come in and you're lined up to be a starter. You become the starter. And I remember having conversations with you actually in the sauna. And it was like a week before the opening day. And I was like, you wanted it, you got it. It's here now. You know, like, what are you going to, how do you feel? And you're like, I've been ready for this my whole entire career. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And you went out there and you did it. And it was cool because I have conversations with people, players that I played with that are pros now and stuff like that all the time about like where their mind is and stuff like that and what the thought process is and always having setting higher goals than what you're expected to do. And that's what you really bought into that. And I think that when you bought into that, we always used to talk about this is what we're going to do. And seeing you actually go out there and doing that and, it fired me up more than anything. And you had a great year at Virginia Tech. And then tell us a little bit about the process that you had to adjust to being a starter compared to a reliever. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's just been, it was a really good year. Seeing you do that, and it turned, after the year ends, now you're in talks with, okay, what are the chances that I'm going to be a professional baseball player? This is your fifth year. What are the chances I'm going to be a professional baseball player? What conversations did you have with anybody or about being a pro? Mm, Yeah, the draft is condensed for COVID and stuff like that. But to be honest with you guys, don't ever. I'm gonna say this again. If you're in draft talks and stuff like that, don't listen to anybody, please. Don't even listen to teams. Listen to nobody, not even yourself, because you don't know what's gonna happen. The draft is the most unpredictable thing. I've seen it 2 times, 2 occasions where guys were supposed to go someplace and they didn't, and were heartbroken because they were told something. And then I see guys that had no expectations that just go early and they're like, whoa, like this is awesome, like they have no idea. And the draft is like, I like to compare it to life in general. When people tell you, all right, things are good, they may not be. You don't know. No one knows. The draft is so unpredictable. And, I don't care who you are. The perfect example is a couple of years ago, Kumar Rocker gets drafted 2nd overall by the New York Mets. He signs, doesn't pass a physical. They take that away from him. And he was forced to play independence ball after that. Kumar Rocker. So it doesn't even matter who you are. You never know what's going to happen. But, on top of that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. As I like to say, welcome to it. Welcome to the show, literally. And that's the mindset you need to have. Yeah, and they're just like, you know what, I'm not a draft pick, and they're gonna care more about the draft pick. Yeah, they will. That's fine, but good. I don't care. Good. You outperform them. Guess what? It is what it is. Numbers are numbers, right? And Nick, you see this all the time. You're in training camp football. Yeah. Week in, week out, you get a high ranked recruit. Well, I mean, they're all high ranked recruits, but there's higher ranks to those recruits. Yeah. And those guys get outperformed. Guess what? Their job's gone. Right?
It's that simple. That's simple. You get the 5-star recruit.
Nope.
Exactly. I talked to Alonzo Highsmith, Ed Reed, all these guys. 2001 Miami football team, probably the best college football team of all time. They tell me there's Mike Rump, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor all on the same team, right? Sean Taylor goes down with a hamstring. Next guy's first round pick in the same draft as him. His job's gone.
Yep.
You never know.
You're discrediting if he does watch this. If the Rock watches this and he gets a chance.
Listen.
No, we got to give him some credit. The
Rock better watch it.
He's playing. He's getting in there, and I know that he might watch this soon. So, but if he does, shout out to him for playing on that team.
I got a bone to pick. I got a bone to pick with him if he does watch this.
Interesting. Wow. So you're gonna tell the Rock you got a bone to pick with him. I'm sure.
Yeah. Sure. Dwayne, if you're watching this, I got a bone to pick. Stop going to Colorado, pal. You're a hurricane.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is professional. It's Dwayne Johnson. Number 94 for the Miami Hurricanes 1999, 2002.
He's back.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. You kidding me?
Yeah, I'm sure if you see him, you'll let him know.
He's not coming here anytime
So,
soon.
yeah. And if he does, I'm sure.
I'll raise an eyebrow to him.
Yeah. Anyway, Tony, now you're a pro. Congratulations, obviously. And what's pro ball like? I mean, you haven't really started playing. You've been in more of training, but what's the difference between that and college? Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nick?
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I have a few friends. My friend Bryce, he works with the Mets. My friend Richard works with the Orioles. He goes out there. They tell me that coaching in the minors and major league is not that intense like it is in college trying to develop, because they understand that these guys are going to go home. They're going to go to their personal trainers and stuff. And at the end of the day, they tell me if he doesn't go and do his thing, I'm just going to cut him. What are you going to do? Like, they don't really care. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean it's legitimately a business. I mean, there's
It's a business.
investments into these
They're paying
guys.
them
It's
money.
like yeah, it's investments. They're actually every player's an investment for them in their eyes, and they want to see their return on them. And
And if they
that's
don't
really
get
what
it,
it comes down
yep.
to. Yeah, I mean that really comes, and the return on investment for them is wins. And if you can't win for them, that's a lost investment on that point. They'll cut those losses quick. It's a business. You know what I mean? It really is. I mean, so. Mhm. Mhm. Well, there's over 600 draft picks and probably 100 plus signees every year. Where do you think they go? Where do you think they go? And Tony, this has been great. Let me ask you a question here. You're a professional baseball player, professional pitcher, the Nationals. Um, go back. I want you to look. I want you to tell everybody if you were talking to yourself freshman year in high school, even eighth grade, what would you tell them? What kind of advice would you give young Anthony Arguelles? Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that it is, that's great right there. Tony, thank you for coming on. This has been really good. Um, I really am excited to see how your first full pro season is going to go coming up, and I'm really excited to see you perform at the highest level that you possibly can. And Nick, I would like to thank you for coming on as a co-host. Guys, if you want to see more Nick Sparber, let me know in the comments, please.
That thing's chilly. That guy's a crazy man. I got home from winter break a year ago. He's like, get your ass outside. I'm like, what? He's like, get in the ice tub. I'm like, I can't even breathe in this thing.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy, but I think that being a professional pitcher is also crazy too. So if that's what you want to do, I'm not saying that's why, but hey, hey, you know what? That's what I like to hear. But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. We're gonna have you on again when you're in the big league. So let's be prepared for that. Once again, Nick, thanks for coming back on, and
Of course.
yeah, talk to you guys soon. Let's do it.